Texas coming off a win against Kansas in a battle of the Big 12, but now they got to go on the road and take on a very good Baylor team. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz. Glad to be with you on CBSSports.com, breaking down some of the best college hoops of the weekend. It's Texas, 11th in the country, 5 straight wins at Baylor, who has lost 2 consecutive, one against Kansas on the road, one against Oklahoma State on the road. They'll be glad to be back in Waco. For more, we bring in Clark Kellogg, of course, of CBS Sports. He's joining us from Columbus. Clark, we'll get to Texas in a sec, but let's talk about Baylor here for a second, because it's a great story. People have been talking about it all year. We've talked about it this year, but it's not just because of the story. They actually have some really good players.
They've got terrific players. Their backcourt is really good and very deep. I mean, Curtis Gerald's leads them at about 17 a game. But then you've got Lasdarius Dunn off the bench doing a nice job knocking down shots. And then Henry Dugat has been terrific as well. Between those three, Jason, they average about 43 points a game. They can get it off the dribble. And they also are very, very good at making it from behind the three-point line. They average about 8 makes from behind the arc per game.
It is a very good offensive team, but at times, Clark, they struggle defensively. It was shown when they gave up 90 points to Kansas. When they play Texas this weekend, is that a concern?
Yeah, that's always a concern. They're 12th in the league in points allowed. They give up 82 a game, but they're first in scoring at 82 points a game. So it's give and take there. Their strength is what they do offensively. They've got to do a job on the boards against Texas, and they've got to do a job keeping DJ Augustine out of the lane. Although Augustine has struggled in recent play, he's still a very dangerous penetrator who creates opportunities for other folks. But Baylor's offense typically is its best defense. By that I mean when they're executing and getting high-quality shots, it energizes them and allows them to maintain better floor balance defensively. And if they're playing well on the offensive end, typically they're a little better at the defensive end as well.
Augustine, the point guard for this Texas team, but there's somebody else who's been playing very well of late. What about A.J. Abrams? Talk about him.
Reigning player of the week in the Big 12. He averaged 23 points a game over his last 3 ball games. He's a guy who shoots it with great efficiency from behind the three-point line. He's a tenacious defender and plays at a high rate of speed. I love the fact that he's a guy who can play fast and not make a lot of mistakes. He can share some of the ball handling responsibility if needed, but his best asset is his ability to get open and knock down perimeter shots.
Clark, when you and I were talking about this game before we got on set to do the previews, we talked about how Baylor is a deep team, but Texas is not. Does that play a role this weekend?
I think a small role. In the first meeting, Gary Johnson and Damian James both came off the bench and combined for 29 points and 15 rebounds in a game where Texas had 16 offensive rebounds, which is what they average in conference play. So the fact that they're not deep, Rick Barnes plays probably 7 guys. But I don't think that's a huge issue for Texas. The key for them is, one, to try to control the pace a little bit and do a good job defending the arc against those perimeter three-point shooters for Baylor.
Do you like Texas in this game to pull off the win on the road?
Well, they've won 5 in a row, as you indicated, Jason, and anytime you go on the road in any conference, but particularly in the power conferences, I always think it's tough. Baylor has only lost 2 games in a row twice. I feel like they're ready to get off of that losing streak and get a good big win at home against Texas.
And they only have 6 losses on the season overall. Clark Kellogg, thank you very much, sir. We'll look for you this weekend calling Michigan and Ohio State on CBS.
I will be there right in Ann Arbor.
Yes, you will. Folks, for more on this game or Michigan, Ohio State, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and check out everything else on the CBS Audience Network. Texas and Baylor tip it off at 6 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, while you're sitting at your computer, sign up for March Madness on demand, every single game of the NCAA tournament for free on your computer. Simply go to NCAA.com and do that right now. For Clark Kellogg, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.